He corners me in an alleyway, reeking of whiskey and desperation. One moment, Eurostrade am trying to breathe in the cool night air, and the next, his hands are on me, his body caging me against the cold brick. Before I can process what Eurostrade's happening, his lips crash into mine. Eurostrade's a chaotic, clumsy kiss, fueled by alcohol and an emotion I can't Eurostrade decipher. For a split second, a treacherous part of me gives in, melting into 2 years of suppressed longing. Then, the anger hits me like a tidal wave. I shove him back, the sound of my palm connecting with his cheek echoing in the sudden silence between us. He stumbles, clutching his face, but a slow, maddening grin spreads across his lips. I like you, Calvin, he slurs, his eyes dangerously bright. Farter Eurostrade's what this is all about. I like you, and just like that, the world tilts on its axis, because the man Eurostrade V been secretly in love with for years. The man who claims to be painfully, unshakably straight, just confessed to me after a drunken, stolen kiss. And I have no idea if he Eurostrade's telling the truth or just breaking my heart in a brand new way. My dorm room bed is supposed to be my sanctuary, but it feels more like a battlefield. Eurostrade am trying to lose myself in the endless scroll of my phone when the door flies open with the force of a minor hurricane. In storms, Miguel, a 6-foot-tall disaster of sun-kissed skin, messy dark curls, and a smile so radiant it could power a small city. He Eurostrade's like a human golden retriever, all boundless energy and zero concept of personal space. Calvin, there you are, baby. I was looking for you. Tell me you didn't eat lunch without me. His voice is a warm, syrupy drawl that wraps around the pet name, and before I can even think to move, he Eurostrade's launching himself onto my mattress. The bed groans under his weight, and his shoulder slams into mine as he makes himself comfortable, treating my personal space like a public park. A surge of irritation, mixed with that familiar, traitorous flutter in my chest, courses through me. I give him a hard shove, my hands connecting with the solid wall of his chest with more force than I intended. Dude, seriously? Boundaries. Look the word up. My tone is arctic, but my heart is doing a frantic tap dance against my ribs. Eurostrade's always like this when he gets this close. Miguel is the epitome of the campus heartthrob, the kind of guy who leaves a trail of swooning admirers in his wake. And he is, by his own repeated and very loud declarations, 100% straight. He just pouts, completely unfazed by my shove, and drapes himself more dramatically across my bed. What's your deal today? You're so prickly. Did I do something wrong? He props himself up on an elbow, his face inches from mine. Or is some hot new freshman already trying to steal you away from me? He waggles his eyebrows suggestively, and a primal urge to throttle him rises in my throat. Eurostrade's not because his assumption is wrong, but because he Eurostrade's so profoundly, painfully oblivious to the reality of the situation that it feels like a physical ache. From across the room, Orsten, our long-suffering roommate, looks up from his textbook. He hasn't Eurostrade been studying. He Eurostrade's been observing the train wreck with the focus of a documentary filmmaker. You know, Miguel, Orsten says, a smirk playing on his lips. You really do sound like a possessive boyfriend. You sure there isn't Eurostrade something you two need to tell me? His gaze is knowing, and I shoot him a look that could curdle milk. Orsten is the only soul on this planet who knows about the colossal, 2-year-long crush Eurostrade been nursing for Miguel. Eater Eurostrade S, in a special kind of self-inflicted torture. Miguel lets out a dismissive snort, sitting bolt upright so suddenly the bed frame creaks in protest. Dating? Me and Calvin? Get real, man. I am as straight as they come. He wraps a heavy arm around my neck, yanking me into a suffocating side hug. Farter Eurostrade S, far too intimate for a circumflex Euros just friends. A circumflex Eurostrade. Calvin's my best bro. We Eurostrade V got that unbreakable brotherly connection. You are Eurostrade Re just bitter because you are Eurostrade Re not part of our exclusive club, Orsten. I struggle against his hold, prying his arm from my neck. My jaw is so tight it hurts. Yeah, well, maybe I don't want to be your human backpack 24/7. The words come out colder than I intended, laced with a bitterness that surprises even me. Miguel Eurostrade's triumphant expression crumbles. He looks genuinely hurt, like Eurostrade V just insulted his entire lineage. Perfect. Now Eurostrade M the villain. A backhack. That's a low blow, Cal. He leans in again, his playful demeanor returning, but his eyes are narrowed. Are you saying you don't like my hugs? Because you are Eurostrade V never seemed to mind them before. His breath is warm against my ear, sending a shiver down my spine, and I jerk away as if burned. My heart is a frantic drum against my ribs. He Eurostrade's completely unaware of the effect he has on me, of the slow, agonizing way he Eurostrade's killing me. Orsten clears his throat, a blessed interruption. Miguel, let me break this down for you. You call him baby more than you call him by his actual name. You are Eurostrade Re constantly draped all over him like a cheap scarf. And you are Eurostrade Re genuinely surprised that people think you are Eurostrade Re a couple. My 90-year-old grandmother has a better understanding of personal boundaries, and she thinks Wi-Fi is a type of bird. Miguel's arm, which had started to snake around my shoulders again, freezes in midair. He pulls it back slowly, a forced laugh escaping his lips as a faint blush creeps up his neck. What? No way. That's just our dynamic. Calvin loves it. Right, Calvin? He nudges me with his elbow, his eyes pleading for me to validate his cluelessness. This is my chance. I have to draw a line. I stand up, brushing non-existent lint from my jeans to create some distance. Actually, I say, my voice flat, I don't. Eater Eurostrade's getting weird. And frankly, it's not exactly helping my chances in the dating world when everyone on campus thinks we Eurostrade Re practically conjoined. Eater Eurostrade's only a half-lie. My dating life is a barren wasteland precisely because Eurostrade am hopelessly hung up on him. But he doesn't need to know the full, pathetic truth. Miguel just stares at me, his mouth slightly agape, as if Eurostrade V suddenly started speaking in an alien language. Dating world, you are Eurostrade Re actively trying to find someone. Since when? He sounds so genuinely astonished that it sends a fresh wave of pain through me. Does he really see me as some kind of asexual sidekick, destined to orbit his son forever? Since forever, Miguel. Eater Eurostrade's what normal college students do, I snap, grabbing my backpack from the floor. Not all of us are content with being perpetually single. The jab is aimed to wound, but my voice cracks on the last word, betraying my own frustration. Orsten raises a single, judgmental eyebrow from his desk. Miguel is still staring, his brow furrowed in concentration, like he Eurostrade's trying to decipher a cryptic crossword puzzle. Okay, you two Euros, you are Eurostrade D, tell me, right? If you were serious about someone, We Euros trade re-bros. We tell each other everything. His tone is so sincere, so earnest, that for a fleeting moment, I Euros trade am tempted to break. I almost tell him everything. I almost say, the person I Euros trade am serious about is you. It has always been you, and Eater Euros trade s tearing me apart. But I don't Euros trade t. I just shrug, hoisting the bag onto my shoulder. Yeah, sure, whatever. Euros trade am gonna be late for class. Euros trade am out the door before he can utter another word, a tight band of pressure constricting my chest. As I walk away, I hear Orsten mutter something that sounds suspiciously like clueless moron, but I don't turn back. In the cavernous lecture hall, I try to disappear into a seat in the back row. But there Euros trade s no hiding from a heat-seeking missile named Miguel. 5 minutes late, he bursts into the room, his eyes scanning the crowd until they lock onto me. He drops into the seat beside me with a loud thud, his knee immediately pressing against mine as he leans in close. "Are you pissed at me?" he whispers, his voice loud enough to make the girl in front of us turn and glare. I keep my gaze fixed on my empty notebook, pretending to be deeply engrossed in its blank pages. I'm not pissed. I just need some room to breathe. My voice is a low murmur, but I hope the firmness is clear. I don't Euros trade t know how much more of this I can take, this constant tightrope walk between friendship and my own sanity. He frowns, leaning back slightly, but his knee remains firmly planted against mine. Room to breathe. Dude, we've been attached at the hip since day one of freshman year. What suddenly changed? That wounded, puppy dog tone is back in his voice, and I hate the way it makes my resolve crumble. Nothing's changed, I lie, my fingers fiddling with my pen. I just don't want people getting the wrong impression about us. We're not our couple, you know. I force a laugh, but it sounds brittle and hollow, even to my own ears. Miguel is silent for a moment, a rare and unsettling occurrence. Then, he nudges my arm gently. Right, but, like, if you are Euros trade serious about dating, I could totally be your wingman. I bet I could find you an amazing guy. He grins, that brilliant, world-altering grin, as if he Euros trade s just solved all my problems. My stomach plummets. The absolute last thing on earth I need is for Miguel to set me up with other guys while I Euros trade am desperately trying to excise him from my heart. I'll pass, I mutter, turning my attention to the professor, who is now droning on about some economic theory that feels a million miles away. I can feel Miguel Euros trade s eyes on me, studying my profile, but I refuse to look at him. I corner Euros trade t, because if I meet his gaze, I Euros trade am afraid I Euros trade ll do something incredibly stupid. Like confessing that I Euros trade v been in love with him for 730 agonizing days, and that confession would detonate the fragile world we Euros trade v built. That night, the dorm room feels smaller than ever. I Euros trade v got my headphones on, music blasting in a futile attempt to drown out my own thoughts. Miguel is on his own bed, methodically tossing a stress ball against the ceiling. Each soft thump grates on my already frayed nerves. Orsten is done for the night, leaving me trapped in this suffocating space with Mr. Clueless himself. Yo, Calvin, Miguel says, his voice cutting through my music. I realize he Euros trade s been talking to me. He catches the ball midair. You going to that music festival on the lawn tomorrow? The lineup is sick. He's trying to sound casual, but there I Eurostrade s a new caution in his voice, like he Eurostrade s tiptoeing around a landmine. I pull one earbud out with a sigh. Maybe our Eurostrade V got a mountain of homework. It's a pathetic excuse, and we both know it. Our Eurostrade M usually the one he drags, grumbling but secretly pleased, to every single campus event. Come on, man. Eater Eurostrade LL beat a blast. Just you and me, some good music, a couple of cheap beers. He does that eyebrow-waggling thing again, and despite myself, I have to fight back a smile. Damn him. Damn his effortless, infuriating charm. We'll see, I say, my tone noncommittal as I put the earbud back in. He does no Eurostrade T press the issue, which is a new and unsettling development. Maybe he Eurostrade S finally starting to understand. More likely, I Eurostrade am just deluding myself. I can try to build walls and create distance, but what are Eurostrade S the point when he Eurostrade S still here, still a constant presence, still a name on the tip of my tongue? As I stare at my laptop screen, pretending to absorb the words, I wonder how long I can sustain this charade. How long can you love someone who sees you as nothing more than a brother? Someone so blinded by his own straightness that he can't Eurostrade T see the pieces of my heart shattering at his feet every single day. I have to find a way to move on, or I am going to lose what are Eurostrade S left of my mind. The next day in class is a special kind of torture. The Professor Eurostrade S voice is a monotonous drone, a background hum to the relentless pressure of Miguel Eurostrade S knee against mine. He Eurostrade S not even trying to be subtle, his leg is sprawled into my territory as if he owns it. I inch my chair away, pretending to be captivated by the lecture, but my thoughts are stuck on a loop, replaying yesterday Eurostrade S disastrous conversation. Telling him I needed space was as effective as whispering at a rock concert. He Eurostrade S still here, still invading my personal bubble, still devastatingly unaware. Hey, you busy after this? Miguel Eurostrade S whisper is a low rumble next to my ear. I can smell his calling near Euros, a dangerous mix of cedarwood and something uniquely him. There are Eurostrade S a new burger place that just opened downtown. We should check it out. My treat. His grin is boyish and full of a hope that makes my chest ache with a dull, familiar pain. I keep my eyes trained on the lopsided star I Eurostrade am doodling in my notebook. Can't. Got plans, I lie, my voice deliberately flat. Study group. Eater Eurostrade S a flimsy excuse, but the thought of sitting across from him for an hour, enduring more accidental touches and misplaced pet names while I choke down a burger, is unbearable. His face falls for a fraction of a second, a flicker of disappointment that he quickly masks with a casual shrug. Oh, cool. Some other time, then. He leans back in his seat, but his knee remains a stubborn anchor pressing against mine. I don't Eurostrade T say anything. I just clench my jaw and silently count down the seconds until class is over. When I finally escape to the relative peace of the library, I Eurostrade am not alone for long. Orsten slides into the chair opposite me, his laptop open but his eyes twinkling with mischief. So, how are Eurostrade S Operation Evict Miguel from your personal space going? He asks, his voice a stage whisper that earns us a fierce glare from a girl at the next table. I drop my head into my hands with a groan. Eater Eurostrade S not. He Eurostrade S like a human boomerang. The harder I push him away, the faster he comes back. I rub my temples, the image of Miguel Eurostrade's crestfallen face flashing in my mind. I told him I needed room, and now he Eurostrade's acting like I personally cancelled his birthday. Orsten lets out a low chuckle. The dude has absolutely no chill. Did you see the way he was moping when you didn't meet him for lunch? I bet he's in our room right now, composing a tragic ballad about your fractured brotherly bond. He makes air quotes around the last words, and while Eater Eurostrade's annoying, Eater Eurostrade's not inaccurate. Miguel Eurostrade's reaction to my pushback has been to double down on the clinginess, as if he Eurostrade's terrified I Eurostrade am about to vanish. Maybe I should just tell him, I mutter, more to myself than to Orsten. Tell him I Eurostrade am into guys. That should be enough to send him running for the hills. Eater Eurostrade's a nuclear option I Eurostrade V considered before, but voicing it makes it feel terrifyingly real. Orstina Eurostrade's eyebrows shoot toward his hairline. Tharter Eurostrade's a bold strategy, Calvin. But this is Miguel we Eurostrade re-talking about. He Eurostrade D probably just slapped you on the back and say, "Awesome, bro. Now you can be my wingman for dudes," and then continue to call you baby. He laughs, but then his expression softens. Are you sure you are Eurostrade ready for that? Once that Carter Eurostrade's out of the bag, you Karna Eurostrade T put it back in. I gnaw on my lower lip, staring at the scarred surface of the library table. He Eurostrade's right. Telling Miguel could change the entire landscape of our friendship, our living situation, everything. Ire Eurostrade V spent 2 years meticulously constructing a fortress around this secret. The thought of him knowing knowing Ire Eurostrade am gay, and worse, knowing Ire Eurostrade am in love with Hemer Euros makes my stomach feel like Eater Eurostrade's full of lead. I don't Eurostrade T know, I confess, my voice barely a whisper. Maybe I just need to be more aggressive with the boundaries. Orsten snorts. More aggressive? You practically laid down barbed wire yesterday, and he Eurostrade's still trying to cuddle you. The guy is denser than a collapsed star. He pauses, leaning forward and lowering his voice. What if you pretend to have a crush on someone else? A little strategic jealousy might just be the wake-up call he needs. It could force him to confront why he Eurostrade's so damn obsessed with you. I roll my eyes. This isn't a daytime soap opera, Orsten. I'm not going to play manipulative games to try and trick him into Euros what. Having a sudden revelation that he Eurostrade's not as straight as he thinks. Even as the words leave my mouth, a small, treacherous part of my brain latches onto the idea. What if Miguel did get jealous? Would it actually mean something? Or would he just enthusiastically offer to help me win the guy over? Worth a shot, isn't it? Orsten says with a shrug. Unless your long-term plan is to pine away in silence while he torpedoes any chance you have at a real dating life. I flip him off under the table, but the seed has been planted. It nags at me all the way back to the dorm. Miguel is straight. He's made that abundantly, repeatedly clear. So why does the thought of making him jealous send an illicit thrill through my veins? Back in our room, Miguel is sprawled on the couch, thumbing furiously at his phone as he plays some high-speed racing game. His long legs are slung over the armrest, and he looks up the second I walk in, his entire face lighting up as if Ire Eurostrade am a returning war hero. Calvin, thought you had a study group. Wanna play? Loser buys pizza tonight. His grin is so open and infectious that for a moment I forget all my resolutions. I almost say yes. Nar, I'm good, I manage, dropping my bag by my desk. I keep my tone neutral, but I deliberately remain standing. If I get within a 5-foot radius of that couch, I know he Eurostrade LL find a way to pull me into some kind of wrestling hug. And I don't have the emotional armor for that right now. He pauses his game, sitting up straight. You sure you're not still mad at me? You are Eurostrade V been acting so distant since yesterday. Eater Eurostrade S weird. His voice is light, but I can see a flicker of genuine concern in his eyes. Eater Eurostrade S just enough to make me hesitate. I'm not mad, I say, crossing my arms over my chest. Our Eurostrade am just trying to shift my focus. You know, to other things, like dating. I toss the word out there like a lit match, waiting to see if it ignites anything. If Austin is right, this should at least get a reaction. Miguel Eurostrade's eyebrows disappear into his hairline. He sets his phone down on the cushion beside him. Dating? Like, for real? Who is she? Are you holding out on me, man? You gotta give me the details. He's smiling, but Eater Eurostrade's a strained, tight-lipped thing. This is it. This is my chance to push, to see if there are Eurostrade's anything beneath the surface of our brotherly bond. I take a deep breath. Not or she, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. I'm into guys. And yeah, I'm thinking it's time I actually put myself out there. Eater Eurostrade's not the full confession, but Eater Eurostrade's close enough to make my heart feel like Eater Eurostrade's trying to escape my chest. His forced grin wavers. Eater Eurostrade's just for a second, a barely perceptible falter, but I see it. Oh, right, cool. Farter Eurostrade Sar Euros Farter Eurostrade's cool. He rubs the back of his neck, his gaze darting around the room, landing on everything but me. Sor Euros, you were Euros, is there anyone? Like some guy you have your eye on? His tone is desperately casual, but his fingers are drumming a frantic, nervous rhythm against his thigh. I could lie. I could invent someone. Use Austin's stupid plan. But I can't bring myself to do it. Not yet. Not specifically, I say with a shrug. Just exploring my options. But I need space to do that, you know. It's hard to meet people when you are Eurostrade constantly attached to my hip. I try to make it sound like a joke, but it comes out brittle. Miguel is unnervingly quiet. He never runs out of things to say. Finally, he gives a short, tight nod. Yeah, okay, I get it. Ir Eurostrade lar Euros Ir Eurostrade LL back off. Ir Eurostrade LL chill. He picks his phone back up, but he just stares at the screen, his eyes unfocused. I should feel a sense of victory. This is what I wanted, right? For him to give me space. But as I climb into my bed later that night, and his usual, thoughtless night baby is replaced by a clipped, distant sleep, well, all I feel is a profound and unsettling emptiness. Maybe I pushed too hard, or maybe, just maybe, I'm the one who's about to regret getting exactly what I asked for.